So my mission is to spread bright energy. I want to see more people smiling and happy than I see unhappy. My whole reason for being had come to me that night, and I was going to do everything I could in my life to make this game possible for other people to play. And whatever I had to do, I was going to do. We learn 30 times faster if we learn something while we're playing, instead of just learning it like by reading or rote memorization. So I knew that in order to spread bright energy, it had to be while playing.
So that was Eleanor Yates, and she is this week's guest on the Alter Your Health podcast. This is your source of information and inspiration to promote the holistic transformation of your health and the health of our planet. My name is Dr. Benjamin Alter. I'm the host of this podcast, and I practice holistic lifestyle medicine online, worldwide. Find out more and get yourself scheduled for a complimentary 15-minute exploratory consultation at www.alter.health. I'm so excited to introduce you to today's guest, Ella. I met Ella just a few months ago over the summer. She actually attended a class that Dr. Suzanne and I was giving in Carbondale, but then she invited us to join her in playing her game called SpiritUp. So Ella is an artist, a writer, and a game creator. She created this card game that is designed to bring people together and evoke their true nature, their true, loving, joyful, playful nature. So that is exactly what I experienced while playing this game. However, it was a little bit outside of my comfort zone, but it's designed to get us kind of thinking in new ways and behaving in new ways and speaking in new ways. And this game is designed to get us moving, to get us connecting in a community, to get us sharing words of affirmation, words of praise, words of positivity with others, and also get us receiving those words of affirmation, praise. And I think that's maybe the most important part, is really the receiving of the love and the connection and the compassion from the people that we are playing the game with. That being said, like there is, there is a winner of this game. And actually the first time we played, I was the winner. I was the quote unquote supernova. That's what they call the person who wins the game. Anyways, I'll let Ella explain more about what this game entails. And also in this conversation, we learn about Ella's creative journey as an artist and as a muralist and as a writer. And we learn about how this game, SpiritUp, was created really in an instant, in an insight, and then the kind of work, the creative process to bring it to life. So you can find out more about SpiritUp by visiting www.spirit-up.fun. And then you can find out more about Ella by visiting eeyates.com. And before we dive in, I do want to just give Ella a brief little introduction. Artist, musician, and writer Eleanor E. Yates, born in Colorado, has worked as a muralist for 20 years. Her murals are found in Ireland, India, Gambia, New Zealand, Newfoundland, and many other beautiful places. Eleanor uses the media of art, words, and music to foster the transformational power of joy, positivity, and love everywhere she works and lives. So that's exactly what Ella is doing by creating this game, which I'm so excited to share with you guys. Before we dive into this conversation with Ella, just a reminder for new and old listeners alike, thank you for being here, and I would so appreciate if you would take a few moments to hit the subscribe button, leave a rating, leave a comment, and also feel free to share this conversation or any others of the podcast off to a friend, a loved one, someone who would benefit from receiving a little shot of inspiration and joy in their life. That's definitely what this conversation is all about. at the end of today's conversation on the podcast with Ella, we actually do play the game. You get a little taste of the game. And if you are watching on YouTube, you can kind of see the game a little bit, see the cards that we're playing with. Anyways, I'll just invite us all to sit back and relax, take a breath, and enjoy this one with our guest, Eleanor Yates. Eleanor, welcome to the Alter Your Health podcast. Really happy to have you here.
Thank you.
Locally in Carbondale, and dive into a conversation about your life and your work and your creative expression that, you're sharing with the world.
Okay. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Well, I thought it was just so great when I asked for, Winnie, of course, is going to make her appearance early.
Hi, Winnie.
And she'll
Come here.
curl up somewhere. But when we talked about having you on the on for this conversation, you're like, oh, what are we going to talk about? And I was like, oh, just kind of your story. And then you shared your autobiography with me, an artist and the light. And I'm like, what? Like, you wrote this also? So obviously I didn't get a chance to read it in the last 48 hours, but there's a lot in there. And I'd like to just maybe start by, going back and maybe the Cliff Notes version of your childhood and kind of getting into the flow of creativity and knowing, when did you know that you were an artist? When did you embrace that?
Let's see. There were a few key kind of mountaintop moments in my life. One of them was when my dad took a drawing class when I was very young, and I was his first model. And I sat for him. Of course, my sisters and my brother did as well. But it was such a memory watching him just smudge and smear pencil on the paper. I didn't know why he was even really staring at me. And then suddenly I saw my image on his paper. And I was so young. I must have been only 3 or 4.
But he was an artist as well? Or was that like a hobby? He was just taking a class.
Yeah, he was very creative, actually. Kind of I don't know if you can call your father your mentor, but yeah, he was a really good guide through my life and taught me about creativity very early on. Mm-hmm. So when I saw that, he said, "Oh, you could be an artist," And I thought at that point, artists are like the most special and sacred people, so I could never do something so wonderful.
Yeah. Where did you have that thought? Like, artists are the most sacred people.
I don't know why I thought that. I thought of myself as not important enough to be an artist. I don't know why. Just
because of the really famous, well-known artists Probably. That are kind of praised for their work.
Probably.
You're that's not me.
It's unconscious. Yeah, I have no idea where that came from, but it came early on.
Yeah, and then, the first chapter of your book about school.
Yes.
And your experience in art class in school, that it sounds like another kind of
Yep,
point.
that was the next big point. When I was 10 years old, I just turned 10, so it was my birthday week, and it was first week of school, and we had a substitute teacher, and she brought in big stacks of paper and postcards for us to copy of the world's most famous paintings. And by the end of the class, I had copied 7 of those postcards and brought them home. And my dad saw them sitting on the windowsill and decided this was the moment when we would go and get my first proper art supplies. So it was when I realized myself through the magical moment of creating these pieces and falling in love with art, and then also getting the supplies for my, probably lasted in the next year or so. That started it.
So what was the initial media of art that you were working with and that you kind of have worked with is just kind of like crayons and markers?
Pretty much. That's how
low-tech stuff.
Yeah. But she brought new crayons and It was really, it was.
Pause real quick.
Yes,
I'm gonna let
Winnie.
All right.
It's always good to have a Winnie in your life.
All right.
And in the room.
Yeah. So so your media has been like crayons and like basic stuff.
Well, when I was little, before that moment when I actually got the supplies, I used everything and anything. I loved lining up my toys on the sidewalk outside to resemble a house or a mountain or anything. And, I'd scratch rocks on other rocks, and I liked to rip out the paper from the back of the encyclopedias, but I would only do that maybe once a week so I wouldn't be caught.
What would you do with the paper? Just to draw
It was
on
my,
you?
drawing paper, and I'd find something to draw with. So
cool. So you've always been like seeking the opportunities to express that which is inside of you.
Yes.
All right. Well, I definitely want to like get to current day and your current expression in the form of the game that you've shared with us recently, SpiritUp. So what do you take as being like the important points in your artistic journey that led you from like the 10-year-old in class, like with the crayons and the markers and the encyclopedia pages? Like what steps have been important for you in your artistic journey to today?
Well, of course, through life, and I'm older than
me. Even though you look like a very young
I could probably
girl.
be your mother in age. But through life, always the most important thing is the creative, just having the creative spirit. And that's through elementary, high school, college, adult career, into old age. And so as I moved out of schooling, I went through various mediums and found that I just loved mural painting. There was a muralist that came to our college, and I had actually painted some murals of my own before that, just instinctively, oh, there's a wall and I have paint, So actually, my very first mural was, I don't think I've ever told anyone this, maybe my editor, but and of course my sister knows, we found hairspray, Aquanet hairspray, and we sprayed hearts and flowers and rainbows and on the wall, and then we lit it on fire when we were 9 and 10. So that was actually my first mural. So
and then that fire like kind of burnt the wall.
It lit up and it changed colors. But yeah.
Oh my gosh.
And then we sprayed it with water. It was in the basement. I can't believe we did it.
Oh, indoors.
Inside.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, we had a kitchen downstairs, and we did it on this wall that was kind of shiny with this white paint. So yeah, so the creative spirit is what I've really sought after through every medium. And murals have been my passport and my template and my passion for the last 20 years. And it's mainly because I moved when Leo Tanguma, he's the artist who came to my college, when he came to our school, he taught us that art is not just fancy people in galleries and, like talking in this type of way about
like snobby stuff.
Yes. And it's not just, rich people buying something that's in the impressionist style to put in their kitchen. He said that we can use art for the people, to fight for the people, to give them beauty, to change neighborhoods that have been neglected and dumped on for years. So that I was like, yes, this is it. I'm going to try to bring beauty to these places that have been just dumped on and forgotten about. And in that kind of quest of doing art for the people, I was given so much. Like I said, it was my passport. So I've been in 40 countries doing murals, mainly in schools, community centers.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So how did you, what bubbled into my mind was this quote or this thing that I saw. I don't know, it was like a graphic or something that said, "Without art, Earth is eh." Because
EAR.
EARTH. Without art, Earth
That's
is eh.
cool.
So that's what bubbled into my mind. But how did
That's
you?
a great quote.
Yeah, I don't know if it's, I don't know who said it, but
I've never heard it.
how did you seek out these opportunities, or how did the opportunities come to you to
I really
travel?
did have to create most of them.
Yeah.
And this was at the time in the late 90s when there were opportunities. The theme of the day was multicolor. You know, we were just brand new into dropping racism, basically, as a culture. And so I had so many opportunities to paint these murals with lots of different types of people. And, but I felt it was kind of like the topics. Anytime a topic kind of goes big, it's a little bit fake until it becomes a part of us. And so I felt a little, at that time, I was glad to have all the work, that type of work, but I actually kind of went away from that and decided to work more in the churches, more about kind of spiritual things and less about let's just make this look like a rainbow, you know? So I started working for mainly there is a priest in Ireland that kind of became my patron on and off. And I learned how to paint fresco, which is what an old world technique where you paint on lime plaster. And I painted a Last Supper there in Ireland and many other murals in Ireland. And I painted a mural about a really incredible nun she created the Presentation Sisters in 1775, and she brought great things. She wasn't just like, one of the Catholic things, go and take over a place. She was helping the Catholics when they were being oppressed by the English back in the penal days. And when they weren't allowed to go to school, she created schools all over the nation and the world eventually. So I've been traveling to a lot of these presentation convents around the world and painting with the children. And most of the children that they find, I mean, they're all sorts of different types, but they're into organic gardening. Like these sisters are not the typical nun that you would think of.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't even know what the typical nun is.
We don't. As Americans, like,
So back up a little bit. Where did you grow up?
So I was born in Denver and moved to Fort Collins at age 8.
So you're a Coloradan.
Yeah. Okay. But I left and I went to UNC in Greeley, and then I left Colorado pretty much for good, except for coming back for projects in 2003.
Yeah, so and then you did all your traveling. It sounded like, had that artistic passport going around the world. That's and right. How did you kind of come back to Colorado? And specifically Carbondale.
Right. Yeah. My place that I have lived at more in the last 20 years is Dingle, Ireland. Mm-hmm. And I wanted to be in Colorado. I think they say the second half of your life you're running home and the first half you're running away from home.
I haven't heard that before. Who says that? Is that like
it is a quote from someone, but I've forgotten. So I knew I wanted to be in Colorado, but I wanted to find a community that was like Dingle in Ireland. And I remembered Carbondale from 2009. I came through here for a month or so. So, yeah.
So what is...
I just decided to move here.
So what is Dingle like? Well, it sounds like it's kind of like Carbondale, but what are some kind of characteristics maybe for people who don't know Carbondale or Dingle?
Okay.
Like
I'd say the top 3 words are colorful, kind, and compassionate. Yep. Both communities are very into helping other people in the world and cleaning the water and fighting fracking.
Yeah,
And
just kind
things
of
like that.
these kind
Yeah.
of more environmentally minded, conscious
And colorful
communities. Yeah.
people. So a lot of artists, musicians, writers come to both places for the beauty, the natural beauty. Yeah.
Cool. So let's take me to the creation of SpiritUp. Then you've been kind of this
Sure.
muralist, not a muralist. I don't know.
Muralist.
This marvelous muralist, this muralist, an artist. And how did the idea, inspiration come to create this game, which is very,
SpiritUp.
the cards are obviously very artistically expressive. That is,
I hope
they're
so.
beautiful drawings on each of the however many, like 100 and what cards.
There are 72 play cards and 144 lucky star cards.
Yeah, so over 200 cards, and each one
There are
has
a lot.
has a drawing of your creation on it. So yeah, where did that come from?
Okay, so all these years I've been painting these huge murals, but have been sort of dreaming about doing small things. And it's actually pretty hard for me to draw on a small piece of paper. I don't know why. It's easier for me to just have a wall and just go out on the wall. So when I draw a small thing like these cards, I first draw it really big and then smaller and smaller and smaller. So I tried making kind of a tarot deck. I tried making cards that would uplift someone, just one person. I invented this. Have you heard of lenticular? Do you know what lenticular is? It's like when you look at something in one direction,
Yeah.
like the 1980s stickers. You look at it one direction, it's one thing,
Kinda like a
and then you
hologram
turn it.
thing.
Yes, it's
Yeah.
like a hologram, but it's not.
Well, there was an Israeli artist that my parents really liked, Agam. Do you know? He like
No.
made buildings where like you look at it this way
Oh,
and you see
yes.
something, and you look at that, and then yeah,
That would be cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, a whole lenticular mural would be amazing.
yeah.
So I decided I would make a power pose pack, which was different poses. So like the Wonder Woman would have her hands on her hips on one of the sides that you look at, and then the other one like arms out or something. So, and then it would have a picture, her picture doing that, and then it would have various quotes that that I had invented with like power words. So the idea was that you would kind of copy the card and do the saying,
Kind of like
mantra.
an affirmation mantra thing.
Yeah. So I actually made the whole deck and had them ordered, one copy, and had them sent to me and loved them. They were really fun to look at and read. And then I put them down on the table, and I never actually did the affirmations or the power poses. So I knew it was a failure. Is not going to work for the world, because my mission and goal in making these cards is to spread bright energy as far as I can.
Wait, so why was it a failure? Just because it didn't light that
I
up
didn't.
inside of you?
If the person who made it doesn't actually use it, 2 weeks went by and I didn't pick them up once. I just went, I was drawing and doing whatever I was doing. So I decided. It all came to me, actually. The idea came to me. I knew it had to be a group activity, but I never thought of myself as like someone who could invent a game for a group. But on March 21st of this year, it came to me in the night. I just had the ideas and just started writing down the cards as fast as I could. I wrote all night long.
What led up to that on March 21st? Did you have
suppose
some?
I was in Ireland.
Did you have an intention?
That's a great question.
Yeah, I mean, like,
Not really.
It just came.
But I had started taking a business class for creative people. So, I mean, of all things, a business, I don't know, but we did have some very good speakers there. And one in particular was very inspiring and was saying, if you get if you suddenly get an inspiration, stop and write it. Like,
Stop whatever you're doing
yes,
and do
yes.
it. Be it, yeah.
Do it right
I've
then
heard
and
that
there
for
because
sure,
it's
yeah.
never going to come back. Yeah. You have to.
So
So I wrote all night long.
So you, shortly after this kind of business class and these kind of seeds were planted in some ways.
Well, I guess what it really was he asked, what is your mission? Like, why are you alive on this world? What are you here to do? So
That's a good question. So this SpiritUp game kind of is
it all
that.
came.
And so if you could articulate then, like, what is your mission and what does SpiritUp do that, manifests or expresses that? Like what is it, if you could articulate it?
Definitely. So my mission is to spread bright energy. I am wanting people I want to see more people smiling and happy than I see unhappy. And that's right now. I mean, we are what we see. So maybe I'm unhappy because I keep seeing unhappy people everywhere.
I don't know if I believe that. I mean, that's a theory. I don't know if we could prove that.
Yeah, I don't know either. But so one piece of kind of science that I had picked up somewhere at that class was that we learn 30 times faster if we learn something while we're playing instead of just learning it like by reading or rote memorization. So I knew that in order to spread bright energy, it had to be while playing.
You couldn't be reading a book about
So
here's
no,
how you
I mean,
are bright.
I tried. I actually tried with this book. It says on the back, and my greatest intention is to embolden joy and love. I want you to feel transported, to float as free as a bird, to feel your own creative joy, dance with new ideas, and shine with bright, vivid euphoria wherever you go. And I hope that the book does that, but it doesn't give people the experience of it.
Yeah.
It's a secondhand, or vicarious living. So what the game does, and I'll just go ahead and pop it open.
Unwrap it. Yeah. Well,
I've just finished making all of the bags.
For the game.
Yeah, and so the cards themselves are goofy things. There are 4 different kinds of cards. Movie Groovy gets you kind of moving and doing really weird things.
Yeah. Before we dive into the game,
you more general.
Well, you mentioned like when you were introducing the game to Susanna and I, and before we played it, you said that there were like a few different reasons or things that the game really was intended to inspire or bring about. I remember movement was one of them. What are the other components of the game that it draws out from us?
This aligns with what you teach and your what I learned in taking your class is the health of the mind and the heart, connecting with your heart, connecting with your spirit, and exercise in fun, novel ways. And also the main thing about this game is that you learn how to take praise. And we all can we're okay at giving praise. Not the greatest, because most of us will criticize a little bit more than we praise. And we think that that's helpful, or a lot of people do. But actually it's, they say like the businesses that use praise in their business, they are, I can't remember the exact science, but they're so much more successful than businesses that use criticism. And there's a ratio, I think you have to praise 5 to 1, and that's for the best, the most successful businesses praise 5 to 1 criticism. So we deflect compliments when people give them to us. So the 2 rules in the game are you may not deflect a compliment, and you may not be critical at all of yourself, especially. We've only had people critical of themselves in the game. or of others.
Yeah, well, going back a little bit to this like experiential piece, the game is an experience. So obviously we're going to be talking about it, and people listening, they're going to be like, intellectualizing these concepts that really are experiential. And I think it's just so interesting that there are so many books and programs about happiness and about cultivating joy
Yes.
and happiness, and none of them are really pointing us to experience happiness. It's all kind of this,
Exactly.
mental gymnastics of like, how do I be happy? How can I think happy?
Right.
But
And
the game,
we'll
yeah.
read the book, or we'll read something or hear something, and then we'll feel a little bit uplifted, and then it drops back down to our happiness level, our normal day-to-day level. But what the game aims to do is, by practicing joy and happiness, you actually raise your baseline joy level.
Yeah, that's kind of a thing that I'm genuinely curious about, is because, I played the game once with you, and it was uncomfortable, but
It is
but
a
fun.
little, yeah.
It was like uncomfortable but fun, kind of getting out of that comfort zone, being odd and goofy. And there's this feeling inside of me, like, back to the praise and the receiving praise and giving praise. Sometimes it feels like a little bit inauthentic, like, oh, I'm going to say this because the card is
Right.
telling me to.
Right.
But the idea is that the more we practice it and the more we do it, and like kind of
In a
fake it
safe
till you
place.
make it.
Yep.
Would you say that that's kind of the intention?
It
Is just like
is.
do it until it feels
Well,
natural?
they say like your body, or visualization, if you visualize something, say, okay, here's one. Just imagine a yellow, brand new lemon that you've just picked from the tree, and you cut it open, and you actually take a little slice of it and you squeeze it into your mouth. Now, can you feel something happening in your mouth right now?
For sure.
Do you have a lemon in your hand?
No
No.
lemons.
So what we imagine and what we do has a vital impact on our bodies, our spirits, our minds, on everything. And so if we're able to, instead of thinking the same thoughts, like Joe Dispenza,
He's amazing. Yeah.
Yeah.
I just finished his newest, I think,
The talk, yes,
Becoming
from
Supernatural book.
Yes.
Yeah.
I saw me as well. And I think he said that 80% of our thoughts are what we were thinking yesterday, maybe even 90.
Right, yeah. Just
So most
kind of these like
people-
old neuro tracks that
Yes,
are
we don't
outdated.
change.
Yeah.
So we end up, living the same day in and out and in and out, and not growing or being ready for spirit to live and do its work through us.
Yeah. I think, it comes back to this idea that everyone wants to change, or everyone wants change,
Yeah.
or to transform,
Because
or
we're
to be
meant for
different.
it.
Yeah.
Every day. Yeah.
But like not everyone is really willing to change. Like everyone wants change, but it's like the process.
It's hard to actually do it.
Yeah. And but with games like this that kind of program us or deprogram us so that we can reprogram in an authentic way.
Like meditation, just resetting. But it's a different kind of reset because you're in community. And that's one thing. The sisters, I'll just say a quick side story. When I was living in Newfoundland 3 times over the last few years, about a month to 3 months each time, I was living in a convent with about 30 sisters, and most of them were over the age of 85. There were 6 over 100, and a lot of them in their 90s.
Sounds like a blue zone. Do you know about the blue zones, like these
No.
areas of longevity?
Oh yeah, there was someone writing a book actually
Dan Buettner.
interviewing a bunch of them.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, it is a zone. But one of the things I noticed, okay, so maybe it's their community living. Maybe it's that they didn't have children. Maybe because they're eating regular meals every day. I'm not exactly sure. Why are these women living so long?
Mm-hmm.
But if you're living there with them, I was noticing that Sister Helena, who is 106, and, I had every meal with them. I would paint the murals between and then, eat with them and have their lifestyle. And every other night, Sister Helena and a few other sisters would play bridge or some sort of card game at night. And they were the sisters, this small group of sisters, they were all over 100. Yet they were the ones who were walking freely with maybe one cane or a little three-wheeler and walker. And they were going to pick up the lunches and the dinners and the breakfasts for the 80-year-olds who were the ones that had preferred to sit in front of the TV all afternoon and couldn't walk anymore and had all sorts of problems and were in and out of the hospital. So I noticed a huge discrepancy between the sisters who kept their minds busy through fun and games.
That's really interesting to be in there and to be living amongst these people and have this experience. It sounds like everyone was pretty darn healthy.
Yes.
But it sounds like there was
they ate well.
There was a distinct difference between the people, the sisters who were engaged and active in their minds and in community versus kind of zoning
laughing.
out. Yeah.
Yes.
And laughing.
Yes.
So they would play bridge and laugh, even though they weren't playing SpiritUp. They were evoking kind of similar pathways and whatnot.
Yeah.
And how long ago was that experience in Newfoundland?
So I think my last trip there was in this last September, October.
So that probably had some influence in the creation
really
of this
did.
as well.
And when I realized I had to do it in a group, of course, I keep thinking of them, that little group of sisters. And I love the quote, Plato's quote. Actually, I must love Plato a lot because there's also a Plato quote I just saw in the front of the book, which is, life must be lived as play. But the quote I love the most of his about play is that you can learn more about someone in 1 hour of play than an entire year of conversation.
Oh boy, yeah, that is really powerful. So
playful conversation, I suppose.
Okay, so since we didn't play for like a full hour, but what did you learn about me?
Oh,
I'm
yeah,
curious.
I suppose.
Like what are some examples of that?
I took your class, and that was at least, I think, 5 different sessions.
We weren't playing though, but...
True, it was a class.
Yeah.
I learned in the class, I'll just say that first because that was before the game. And I learned that you and Suzanne were very astute and, knew so many... could teach me so much, and knew so much about health and life that wasn't taught in mainstream doctor world, And also that I could tell that you were both very bright and energetic and happy people in general. So that was great. But during the game...
Yeah, what came out?
It was different because I think your... I don't know if I can speak so freely, but I think during the class, there was kind of a Vermeer curtain hung in front of you that was like trying to be more businesslike or something like that. Whereas during the game, it was like, I saw you have trouble with, I remember the exact card. You got the card, the Lucky Ducky dance card, where
I remember vividly.
The card asks the person to teach the other people a dance that then they have to get up and do the dance with the other people and also be chanting, "I'm so lucky, I'm so happy, go baby go."
Well, I think I missed
like
that part.
I'm so
go
lucky.
I think it was like go lucky.
Go. Yeah, I can't remember remember what
Okay.
it says, but when you got up, okay, so I remembered the wall. It was not just a little Vermeer curtain. It
Yeah.
was an actual thick heart wall, like that you had to
All right, I felt
ice
it. Like,
pick down.
I'm going.
Yeah, and you're like, okay, we're gonna do this now. And then after that, I felt like it was just you, like, and you were free. So I was glad to see that. And
Cool.
yeah,
It's cool to have that kind of outside feedback because, it's like easy. The game, for people who haven't listened or played it yet, it's like it's kind of easy to play what other people are doing. It's kind of easy to receive, like do this. Everyone's pretty good at doing what they're told. But when you get the card and it's like, all right, like
you're the teacher.
You're time to exactly crack off all that veneer and it gets you it got me out of my myself, my small self.
Right. And
Yeah.
then I feel like maybe after that, you just enjoyed everything more.
Yeah, I think that, it's like my intellect or my thoughts kind of became in the background and I was more present with the experience.
And to open to the joy.
Yeah.
And to the, I noticed with open to the compliments as well.
Yeah.
The
because
lucky stars.
once again, it kind of seems like for me, I can only speak for myself. It's kind of like I had to fake it. It's like, oh, thank you.
Right.
Yeah, that's nice.
Up until you had to do something.
But then exactly.
And then you're like, yeah, I do kind of deserve that compliment.
I am a lucky ducky duck. Yeah. All right. So people who are listening in who haven't played the game are probably like, what in the hell are these guys talking about? So now maybe we can kind of crack open and dive into the aspects of the game, the different. So wait, I don't know if so the game is designed to get people to move, to get people to give and receive compliments and be in community. And what are, can you speak again to the other?
It gets you past your logical mind. So Zippy Zests get you to do something without thinking too much about it. The community aspect is really important. That's why the cards are round and you sit in a circle and a lot of the things you do are in a circle. Like you create a star at the beginning and everyone says the Magico Presto Manifesto together. The other things are...
So there's like the quick, getting your mind quick and
Oh,
thinking.
yes. And then Peppy Perks.
Oh, was that the one where you... And then,
Nope, that's a tap
Okay.
stack. The Peppy Perks are the ones that teach you how to become kind of like a mixture between a cheerleader, a coach, and a preacher, or kind of a inspirational speaker. Because a lot of times,
I don't know if we got so many of those in our game.
I'm not sure. We got mostly movie groovies, which, we played a game with 5 people and it took about half an hour, 40 minutes. And we each played, I think, 4 cards or something like that. And so there's 72 cards. So every game you can play over and over and it's always different. The Peppy Perks, I don't think we did get many.
All right, so what are I mean, it's kind of hard to grasp all the rules, and that's probably not the greatest use of our time on this conversation, but so essentially there's people sitting around in a circle and going around and picking cards and kind of doing what the card suggests, and there's 4 different cards.
Yeah.
So the 4 different cards are...
the movie groovy, Peppy Perks, Happy Hearts, and Zippy Zest.
So the movie groovy is all about kind of getting up because out of your seat and moving your body in kind of novel
Strange
ways.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then what's the Peppy Perk?
Peppy Perks are the spirit ones. You become kind of a spirit leader.
So you're
cheerleader.
still moving, but kind of also
yes. A lot of them are call and response. So you're getting everyone kind of yelling out things like, I am magnificent.
Right. So when you pick the card or when I pick the card, I don't feel like a total Looney Tune because everyone's a Looney Tune with
Yes,
me.
everyone. And
Yeah.
then what happens is you might break that barrier, the heart barrier that you broke during the Lucky Ducky dance on your turn, which is likely, but also it could break down at anybody's turn because you're taking part. You could be one of them. Everyone becomes an orchestra, so you're pretending to play a certain instrument, or nature reserve, so you're acting like a tree or a goat, or there's some laughter club ones which are really fun. Like you do very wild things, and then you just start laughing so much that I've had people like not being able to put their cheeks down like after from laughing so much afterwards, saying like they have like their cheeks actually hurt. There was one guy, he was like kind of disheveled when he came in to this one game I played at a camp this summer, and he was pretty overweight and he looked like he was carrying also a lot of burdens. And after the game, he got up and he just started jumping like a little like leprechaun man and was saying, "I feel 50 pounds lighter."
This was not this was not because he drew a card that said jump in the air and say that you
He came
feel
in with his head down and kind of.
This was authentic. Yeah, super cool. All right, so Peppy Perks. Peppy Perks are kind of more
Pep
talks. Pep talks, and then the happy heart. Is that
Happy
a thing?
hearts, you really connect to yourself, to your heart, and you get everyone else to connect to their spirits, their souls, like their mission in life, their wishes for the world, compassion, all of those things that are heart centered.
And then Zippy Zests.
Zippy Zests are usually just weird.
Kind of out there stuff.
Totally out there. And then there's the tap stack, which gets you to do a little tap dance. And it's kind of, it moves the game along faster.
That's right.
And they're like the wild card.
Yeah. Cool. So kind of going back a little bit to the creation of all of this wild and crazy fun stuff, like how did it come through? Did it all kind of come through at once? You talked about
pretty much
waking up in the night and kind of like
it was
like Peppy Perks, Happy Heart, Zippy Zest. I'm like it was all clear like that.
It was amazing. Like the book took me 10 years to write. And,
wow.
I was writing always. I always write, keep a journal. And we brought it down from, I don't know, however many hundreds of thousands of words down to 40,000. And we have a few finishing touches, but it really was a lot of editing and, just a lot more work in a way. Whereas the game, all I did was kind of just let these ideas come to me in a way. And I couldn't write fast enough. I was just like doing shorthand and like page after page, just throwing it on like everywhere. I was like, I don't have enough paper. So I was just drawing on or writing on drawing paper. And so then it was, I don't know if you've ever seen Pride and Prejudice. Probably not, because it's a
I don't
chick
think
flick.
that I have. I know it's a classic.
Maybe it's what I felt the next morning. There's this thing at the end of the movie, which maybe some people listening will have seen it, but the couple that fell in love, they couldn't sleep all night, and they're in different places. They wake up early in the morning when it's pre-dawn. It's very, very early, and it's foggy out, and they both just start walking. And that's what happened to me. I was just walking, and they meet in the middle of a field, and I just felt like my whole reason for being had come to me that night, and I was going to do everything I could in my life to make this game possible for other people to play. And whatever I had to do, I was going to do. And so I just went out walking. It was foggy out, just like in the Pride and Prejudice movie. And I was like, in this heightened state, feeling like I was just floating along the grass. It was incredible.
Yeah. Had you ever experienced anything like that? And because, I
Bits and
think I think of
pieces.
artists as being really kind of like a channels
Connected.
connected, that
Yeah.
flow.
I've
But
had times when, if I try to paint well, it never comes out. So I've always had to be able to erase myself from the situation, especially with painting murals when, you have hundreds of people watching you and you're up on a lift and you have a very limited amount of time and you cannot let, this 5-story tall woman look wrong. It has to be right.
yeah, well, that's when you said that you had a easier time painting big things than little things. I was like, that's pretty wild because I think of painting like the side of a building, like there's a lot of pressure on for doing that. It's not like
Yes,
a
in the
piece of
public
paper
art.
that you can like throw away and start over real quick.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So the game, boom, came
Yep.
to you.
Came to me.
And then
I just started playing it. The first cards are funny. I mean, they're just round cards that I cut with scissors and, scribbled on the front and the back. And I started playing it as soon as I could. I got my editor that helped me with An Artist in the Light, and he's now my business partner and really helping me get the game out there. And yeah, so we went on Kickstarter in August.
yeah, so what was the process from like, all right, March 21st or whatever that date was?
I don't know why it was March 21st, but yeah,
That's the spring equinox, right? Or
is it?
no, is that April?
I don't
No,
know.
yeah, March 21st is the spring equinox.
Oh, how funny.
So
yes. I should look up more about that day.
but anyways, things came to you. You like created the prototype, and it sounds like pretty darn quickly. And then here we are. Only it's October, like 7 months later.
Yeah.
Exactly. And
Oh yeah.
and
It's the
like
21st.
and you've done a Kickstarter. I mean, I feel like you kind of went into like go mode, create mode, focus mode. But it sounds like it wasn't work. It sounds like it was divinely inspired and in the flow. So talk us through that process of like, all right, idea to prototype to Kickstarter to like product. Like how was that?
Even starting a business.
And the business aspect.
Yeah, that was an interesting part. No, all of these years I've just been going off of individual taxes, never made a business for myself. And so, yes, all the ideas, a lot of the artwork I used from the cards that I hadn't taken any further than that first pack that I got for myself. So I used some of that artwork, and then a lot other. Every time I play the game, I get ideas from people and kind of have streamlined it in that way. We've played it, I don't know, maybe 50 to 100 times. I don't know exactly.
Like still when you play the game, you're still getting ideas. So you're still making like new cards and stuff then?
We had to stop because we ordered them.
Yeah, it's like at some point, all right, Miss Creative Mind.
The next game maybe,
Next version.
But
2.0.
we only ordered, so we went on, I also had to learn all about Kickstarter and marketing. I've always found my jobs just word of mouth or applying through these public art websites. And so this is going to be very different in that I have to market it myself and really get out there. So the Kickstarter was really fun and interesting and very hard, a lot of hard work actually to keep going on it. And I have trouble staying on Facebook and Instagram. My goal was to do a little video every day for 30 days, and I only made it to maybe 7 days. I don't know why.
It's not your strong point right now.
No. So maybe that'll happen in the future. But yeah, once we got the Kickstarter, once it was a success, and figuring out the budget for it was tricky because you have to have enough for the ordering of the game as well as what they take. There's a few fees, and then the sending it out, all the postage. And it's tricky for different countries. So I listened to almost every podcast there was out there about Kickstarter game, people who were selling games on Kickstarter.
And now, so you did the Kickstarter, and now you've got kind of the however many
The funding,
funding for
to make 100 sets.
Awesome. And
Yeah.
now they're for sale at SpiritUp.com, right?
That's
Spirit
right.
Dash Up.
Spirit-up.fun.
Dot fun, of course. Duh. Well, super cool. I had the idea as kind of a way to maybe like wrap up our conversation to like pick a card and play.
Definitely.
Is that like something that we can do?
I think that's such a great idea, and picking randomly is also really good. And
I
then
just got some clammy palms.
These are the lucky stars.
Okay.
So I think we should also read some lucky stars. Maybe pick one play card. I'll just put them all together. If you get a tap stack, just pick a different one.
All right, cool. How about you go first?
Okay.
to show us how it's done.
No, the different colors, they're going to be different. The ones for sending are yellow, I think, and blue. Very, very different. These you can barely tell they're different, but these are the I, Me, My mode, which you can play just by yourself at home. So they're a little
there's
easier.
a single player mode. I
Yes.
didn't know that.
And these are the group mode you can see with all the people on there. So if you want a slightly easier one, you can go for the purple. Just giving you a
little trick. I'll close my eyes. How about that?
Okay, so this one, it's a Zippy Zest, and it says stand and ask. So I won't stand, but I'll just pretend I'm standing.
Yeah.
It says, "Hi, friends. Will you compliment me for 5 seconds each in sequence, and then allow me to bask in silent gratitude for 20 seconds?"
So I'd compliment
So
you.
then, it says bask with eyes closed and arms out.
Well, you are the most creative artist I have ever known in my life, and you're so beautiful inside and out. I can hardly stand it. Is that 5 seconds? All right. Cool. And now what do you? Now you've got it. I can tell that you received it because you're good. You're a natural.
I've gotten better at receiving.
Yeah.
So I don't think that was exactly 20 seconds in this game.
Yeah, there's the 20 seconds.
But that's fine because they got the idea.
Yeah.
You realize how long one of the science things was it takes 20 seconds to absorb a compliment. And
so this is scientifically proven cards here.
But or maybe it was 60 seconds. I can't remember. But criticism is an instant attachment. Usually. So
that's so interesting how our brains are. So if I understand that, it's like our brains are really easy and really good at latching onto a critical thing, but it kind of deflects praise unless we really intentionally accept it for 20 seconds.
Yep. So that's why this game is setting out to help people to actually accept compliments.
Maybe you should
and
write
give
that.
themselves compliments.
Scientifically proven to help you accept compliments and be more spirited and joyful. All right, so I'll pick a card now. La-di-da-di-da.
And you got an I, Me, My mode. So
I got an I, Me, My Zippy Zest. Stand and make a lovely rainbow with your arms as you speak gibberish for 10 seconds. Then read enthusiastically while clapping. Refreshed and blessed, I seize this day, enjoying fun and happy play. Zippy zappy wooby dooby whoppy whoppy shoopy toppy loppy doppy doo ga 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 boo hoo hoo ha 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 hee hee hee. Refreshed and blessed, I seize this day, enjoying fun and happy play. I must say that gibberish is not my it's not my second language.
No, I'm going to read you a couple lucky stars because that
Okay.
was worth fun, relaxing, profound, infinitely beautiful.
Oh, and I say thank you.
Yep.
Right? I've got to,
Yeah.
yeah.
So after
Because
that was actually really good. You're gibberish, yeah. After each person's turn, people have 6 or a certain amount of lucky stars, which are the compliment cards. Like,
These-
oh yeah, dance that dream, or some of them were simple, like thumbs up. That was fun.
I praise you to the moon.
Yeah, how clever.
Oh my gosh, goodness, golly gee. I love your fabulosity.
Sweet.
So-
now I'm so amped.
Yeah. So these are the star.
These are the lucky stars.
Lucky stars are
so
the.
after
they
someone
kinda-
plays, people will shower you with lucky stars.
Yeah. So they kind of like ingrain that the praise and kind of
Yeah.
reinforce the good
And
feeling.
they're a rest. They're also a bit of a rest from the play cards, which are pretty intense.
These ones are intense in a different level, in a lighter way.
But you have something like 6 cards, which is 12 different choices of things that you can read.
Yeah, because they're
to
front
people.
and back.
So sometimes they fit right with the thing that the person did.
All right. So how does someone win Spirit Up? Because there
Right,
is
you
a
can.
winner.
Yes. Well, of course, all players are winners because when you practice positivity into being by playing, you raise your happiness level 30 times faster than you ever will reading a book or in any other way.
Back to that
So,
experiential fun rather than reading about how
so
to be
everyone
happy.
definitely walks away feeling like a winner. And like our little motto, you'll feel like you just struck gold. But the way to become the supernova, which is the person who
I was the supernova
yeah,
last
you
time.
actually won.
I remember that. That's right, the supernova.
If you collect the most cards in your treasure trove, which is, it's kind of just dumb luck. Sorry to say.
Yeah, you can't be like a professional Spirit Up
you
player
can't.
in the sense that you
No.
can not much skill. It's just about
It's luck.
Yeah.
Because you can have all the cards collected and be the one who's about to win. And then the next person will,
do
their
the
card.
tappy stack.
Yeah. Or they'll get a card that says stand and trade places with the person on your left, trade all cards as well. So then they're definitely going to win. So, and the winner becomes a supernova, and the supernova then passes out these, power names to each person that they can take away with them. And they do a little dance around the supernova as everyone who plays becomes a superstar. So they kind of dance in an orbit around the supernova for a little bit as they chant the finale ditty.
Yeah, that's super cool. I thought it was, on one hand, I was like, that's interesting. There's this kind of, spirited game, and like there's losers and
there's
winners.
a winner, I know.
But I think that we can appreciate that, and it is, it's like, I don't know, the fact that it's like a celebratory thing. It's not like someone's like, oh, you won, you suck, It's like
Right.
there's-
I'll get you next time.
I'm gonna
No.
win next time. Yeah, like
Not
let's
at all.
bet. Let's put some money on this Spirit Up game. That's obviously
Yeah,
not the
whenever I
point.
say, well, a lot of times when I say I've invented a card game, people joke about, is it a,
Gambling.
yeah, should I bring money or whatever?
Poker
and I'm
chips.
like, yeah, no. Yeah, you just bring your smile and an open mind.
Super cool. Well, as we wrap things up, where can people? Oh, we already talked about people can go online. And,
Although we only have, I think, 5 more games.
well, I'm sure by the time like this is out in the world, there will be maybe like what's the plan?
The plan is we are just about finished manufacturing this first 100. then I am going on a yellow brick road tour to play the game. My Emerald City is Agape International in LA.
Oh, I've been there. Yeah.
Have you?
Yeah.
I've never.
With
So
Michael Beckwith.
yes.
Yeah.
So my
Oh,
goal is to play it every day along the way as I make my way there, and to give him a copy, one of those last 5 copies, and also just gain more support and like knowledge in the game itself, and to then we will be making our next set of games. Our goal is to make 5,000 copies. So at that point, then it'll be for sale. Who knows where? Everywhere, hopefully.
awesome. Super cool. Oh, wait, one curiosity that came to my mind is, in your experience of playing however many 100 times or whatever, can you share maybe some transformation that you've witnessed in people playing this? You kind of shared what you saw in me, but what's like one of
Right.
and you also shared that guy
The
that
the
was
guy, oh my
was that
goodness, walking in, yeah, with his
yeah
head down and looking like he had just crawled out of some terrible place. Yeah, and then leaving,
yeah.
jumping up and down.
And like, have you heard or experienced any kind of like the longevity of the
Yes.
transformation?
Now
Any
that's
stories to
that's what
share?
came to mind
Yeah.
actually. Even when after playing it, I believe it was only game number 3 in Ireland. There was a pretty big group, maybe 8 people, 9 people, and we can play up to. Actually, I played with about 20 a couple weeks
With
ago.
one deck.
Yeah,
Oh
it
wow.
actually worked. So it says in the rules only up to 12, but in Ireland there were about 7 or 8 of us, and then there was one girl who came, but she was just sitting on the couch. She's like, "Oh, I'm not playing. I'm not playing." And she just seemed like, wow, there's something wrong in her life, like she
The one
just
person who
she
kind of like needs to
refused.
play. Yeah.
Yeah, she
Yeah.
refused. But then it was interesting because about 2 months later, I received this long email from her about how that game, just watching us play it, had had changed her life. There were so
Wow.
many things that were not going right, and she said it just cleared them. Like she was able to see things clearly after that. And I was like, oh my goodness.
Just being in the
And
room.
we see, I keep hearing like that the happiness level, people will write or text me a few days later and like, I still feel it. Like I still feel brighter and happier. So it does last longer. Actually, I haven't played it for a couple of weeks, and I was thinking yesterday, like, I'm not quite. And then I was like, oh my God, I have to play again.
You're due for a dose of your own game.
Exactly.
Oh man, it's so cool, and I think it's totally, as I see it at least, like the answer to the issue that everyone's kind of complaining about in our world. Everyone's caught up in their head, caught up in their intellect, trying to fix things and be happier from this space once again up in our head. And the world, I think there's another quote that's coming to me. I think it's Sai Baba, like some spiritual teacher. He says there's too much information and not enough transformation. So like the world needs some experiential opportunity to
Yes.
step
Alchemy.
into the transformation. So this is like,
As above, so below.
yeah, this is that opportunity that brings people together, kind of solves all of these huge global social issues in a fun, kind of old school, low tech kind of
Very
way.
low tech.
No apps to download, no like things to strap on
No,
your body and like
exactly. It's like your water technique. Like you just put water on.
the hydrotherapy, yeah.
Hydrotherapy,
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly.
It's like,
We're
oh
seeking
my
all these kind of
goodness.
advanced high-tech solutions to these simple problems.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. So anyways, I really appreciate you coming on and sharing the creativity and
Thank
the
you.
journey, and also playing around and getting people to kind of maybe experience this and feel it through our conversation. And hopefully, you know, these games are flying off the shelves wherever they are soon as the kind of funding and everything gets aligned to make that happen. Yeah.
Oh, I was nervous to come and talk, but I feel like it's been so wonderful. And yeah, great for me. And thank you so much for inviting me to do this.
For sure. It's been a lot of fun. And I look forward to seeing where it all goes. And look forward to supporting the journey in any way that I can. And I trust listeners out there who are inspired can follow along and head over to spirit-up.fun. And are you on social media?
I am, although I don't really know my call words for it.
Oh,
sorry.
It's okay. Well, you'll get it to me and I'll post it.
Some 12-year-old got me on a long time ago.
Like on Instagram or what?
Put me on Instagram.
Well, yeah, I hope that you kind of, to some degree, kind of document this yellow brick road journey. You know?
Yes.
Take us along
That's
the ride.
That's a plan.
Yeah.
That is, yes, definitely.
So we'll get your Instagram handle and we'll put it on the podcast episode link, and we'll follow you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great.
All right, Ella. Thank you again so much.
Thank you.
Peace and love.
Yes. Namaste.
See you next time.